Hey, let's talk about you, the ID10T community events at ID10T.com, like Russ Stevens, aka
Cat Bus Russ,
who has started a podcast called 90 for Chill, which Russ says is dedicated to movies with a runtime between 74 and 99 minutes, the time frame that I feel is ideal. Russ, I could not agree with you more. That is a fantastic idea. Russ goes on to say there are times you need a cinematic fix but don't have time for the latest Scorsese masterpiece or offering from a comic book universe. There's also times when you need a conclusion to prevent a binge costing you a whole night. My guest and I try to follow these guidelines as we chat up features that are definitely worth your time and are beyond easy to make time for. 90 for Chill, the podcast, can be found on all major podcast platforms at 90forchill.com, and that's spelling out 90, Ninety, 4 FOR, chill. So there you go. Thank you so much for sharing, Russ. Really great idea for a podcast. Events at ID10T.com for everyone else.
Since this episode's my conversation with Jess McCord at Des Moines Comic-Con in regards to 90 for Chill, the panel, and that we also did a Skies of Fortune presents A24 Horror Goes to the Art House panel, I figure I should throw a A24 horror movie review in, and that movie, which was the one I knew he praised and does fit the 90 for Chill parameters of 70 to 100 minutes, was I Saw the TV Glow.
I know this might sound crazy. I don't want to alarm you. Do you remember a TV show we used to watch together? It was called
The Pig Go Big?
Yeah. Do you watch? Each episode, they help each other fight a new monster from across the county. But it's way too scary for most kids.
We're gonna defeat him this time. We're gonna need to harness the full potential of our shared powers.
Sometimes the Pinko Pate feels more real than real life.
Maddie, it was a TV show.
Are you sure that's all it was? I like girls, you know that, right?
Totally, that's fine.
What about you? Do you like girls?
I think that I like TV shows.
It's our destiny.
How can I have a destiny?
Something's wrong. This isn't how life is supposed to feel. Tell me you know it's true.
Maddie, it's just the suburbs.
Seems like you're always somewhere else lately.
Maddie disappeared without a trace. All they found was her TV set burning in the backyard. I told myself I made the right choice. What if I really was someone else? Very far away on the other side of a television screen.
So back in 2023, I spoke with Austin Noto Moines about Jane Schoenbrun's debut feature, We're All Going to the World's Fair, and I wasn't really impressed with that one. It's good that A24 is giving directors opportunities, and I say directors because I don't know after watching this one really the talent level. I'm sorry. At moments, like, they want you to think it's supposed to be cheap, and in other moments, it's like, it just doesn't really connect the vibe very well to me. This movie takes place in different realms and such, unlike the previous feature, which was really just watching a teenager just go crazy. I can't really, on the internet, backing up a moment, so I think this may have been too ambitious for them. I know a lot of people really found this movie really connected with this feature, and I can see how you could connect with the feature. So perhaps the script's all right. I don't really care much, though, for our lead performance from Justice Smith. It was more of a decision, and then it goes back to the writing, and it's like, let me just get into this feature. The movie is about two outcasts who bond over a TV show on the Young Adult Network, which is obviously a blatant way of saying Nickelodeon back in the mid-90s, in the era of Nick at Night, dare I say. bond over a show called The Pink Opaque, which is sold as a sci-fi, basically I'd say, if we're talking Nickelodeon terms, the secret world of Alex Max, or spooky like Are You Afraid of the Dark? So stuff I probably just don't relate to. Just my age, what can I say? One, Maddie, played by Jack Haven, is a lesbian who's stuck in an abusive household, a stepdad who's not afraid to break noses, let's just say it that way. And Owen is definitely neurodivergent with very neglectful parents. And it's just my own personal experience. Maybe my empathy, dare I say, but I can't really say I ran into anybody like that I didn't try to address or shun. I guess just growing up in a town where they probably would find new places to put those kids, sadly. And I guess this is one my older sister might relate to in a sense. I don't necessarily know the Owen experience myself, just his actions. Like, dude, it's again, and it's not necessarily his actions, it's his parents not taking action to see if they can have him adjust to society. So thus, Maddie is his only friend, and they really only have a relationship over this TV show that he sneaks over to watch Saturday nights. Eventually, though, she is so depressed that says she's going to die if she doesn't get out of this town, and insists that Owen join her. Owen freaks out, and suddenly she just disappears, left only with a TV burning in her backyard. So we go through the story of Owen as he's adjusts to life without Maddie again, and he has no real social relationships at all, and mocked otherwise. So you really feel for the kid's experience. It's just, again, what I could say, basically it's him trying to figure out what happened to her, and what happens suggests that he might be a character in the TV show, and this is just false memories. He's got to deal with whether he wants this reality to be true, or just accept that life doesn't revolve around yourself in a sense. So I guess how this is a metaphor for the trans experience. It's kind of like The Matrix if it wasn't sci-fi. It's Videodrome if it was PG-13. So the more I talk about it, it's like I see what they are trying to do with this feature. It's just Justice Smith's acting as this neurodivergent character is the decisions he makes as an actor, I should say. Like, I don't think he should have done a real low voice, like I'm totally unrelatable alien type way. I guess for me, I just feel for the guy. That's my problem, and it's very painful, honestly, to watch it in a sense, because it's like, I know all it takes is somebody to actually show compassion to that person, and that might be the entire point of the story and what really everybody connects with. I do kind of dig the idea that, well, maybe he's a character in the TV show, so the Matrix comparison, and he just has to wake up, dare I say. And as for the Videodrome, there's attempts at body horror which aren't as cool as they were in We're All Going to the World's Fair, and just seem cheap and there's not a lot of practical effects, and that I know it's the age, and I know it's cheap to do CG, but it just doesn't feel right to me. And as for the TV show, no, I get what the TV show and, trying to show it and on many planes, dare it be, when, it's just a kid show, or when it's an intense teen drama, or it's just not shot very well, even for what it's trying to impersonate. It just feels like an impersonation. That's the vibe of I Saw the TV Glow. I don't like the fact that we don't land the plane in the end. It has a Lord of the Rings vibe to it, or to be a little more jokey, dare I say, the VHS release of Clue. No, just, you have a point, stop it. I know, some of the ending doesn't seem believable, so it's still, but maybe that's the point. So It's a misunderstood film by me, but if you're very much a misunderstood person, I should go from this standpoint. I do think I'm a very misunderstood person, but it's just the fighter in me, dare I say, that, I found my voice through wrestling to start. Like, that was my identity. So, yeah, again, misunderstood, because that's really all I was in high school, and that's all I wanted to be. But it's just, I'm going to run myself into circles. The message of the film is, I don't necessarily know what the message of the film is. There you go. Is it Videodrome, where the false reality is going to destroy you? Is it The Matrix, where you have to accept this reality, be it false or true? It's the crazier one you should enjoy? Or is it solely just about the story of alienation, about being different and nobody taking the time to understand you? I don't know if I'd recommend it. I guess I have to, though, because you got to make the decision for yourself.
Your cable TV is experiencing difficulties. Please do not panic. Resist the temptation to read or talk to loved ones. Do not attempt sexual relations, as years of TV radiation have left your genitals withered and useless.
Well, I'll be damned.
Thank you for your patience. Before we get to the panel, I just need to go through the formalities since I did not list them at the end of the panel. So if you want to help the podcast out, rate and subscribe on your favorite podcast apps, 5 stars preferably. Be as honest as you'd like in the comments. I will read them. I will take them to heart. I will learn from them. I am not AI. Another way you can help the podcast out is to become a Patreon subscriber. That's patreon.com/IDigCrazyFlicks. I'm just looking for $3 a month. You can consider that 3 tins of cat food for Ava the Queen Kitty. You must respect royalty. In return for those tins, you will get yourself a waterproof sticker. I put them on all my water bottles at work, and a shout out on each episode as long as you're subscribed. So thanks, Tim Bates. You can find him on the episodes for 1989's Bloodsport and Space Arena and the classic horror comedy Night of the Demons. I'd like to thank the Scoop Saley, former AAW wrestling backstage personality. And on top of those shout-outs, you get access to the original Podbean 90forchill.com, the podcast feed, so you can see how I've grown as a podcaster. But the best way to help 90 for Chill out, I still say it like that, and obviously Chris Hardwick hasn't been updated with the change. If you want to help out I Dig Crazy Flicks, suggest a theme, a movie, an actor, director. As long as the content is crazy, at least, not the film's not in touch with reality, I'll happily chat about that. But if you have something like we'll mention Woody Allen in this, down-to-earth cinema, as long as it's between 70 and 100 minutes, I'll be happy to give you 40 minutes on Zoom for that, at the very least. I just need to thank Station Marie Harden for keeping an eye on me, keeping me out of too much trouble. I know she's doing the same for everybody else she touched in her life, and I'm hoping that, especially in this spooky season, she is squeezing the ectoplasm out of the most jellicle of kittens, Skimbleshanks the One-Eared Angel. Thanks for giving I Dig Crazy Flicks a shot, and I hope you enjoy the show.
Little Hand says it's time to rock and roll.
Bring the noise.
So let me just start. Any Phantasm fans out there? All right, awesome. I'm sorry. Yeah, I like 4 and 5, but 3 is pretty much the peak, I would say. But with that said, this podcast is protected under the laws of the United States and other countries. Unauthorized duplication, distribution, or exhibition may result in civil liability, criminal prosecution, and the wrath of the tall man. Boy! Alright, so, yeah. So this is I Dig Crazy Flicks presents 90 for Chill, the podcast. I'm Cat Bus Russ. I do this show. I release episodes every Wednesday morning, Tuesday night, what have you. And this all started as a podcast. Basically, I figured I have to find a niche to get in there. So I decided, well, movies are just too damn long nowadays. In my opinion, like, half of it is just me wanting to, get to watch stuff, but how much time do I really have? I typically work 2 jobs, and so when I'm going to bed and want to put something on, I can't put on a Scorsese movie. I can't put on a MCU flick. That's going to take me till 2, 3 a.m., and then
you'll be tired the next day.
Right, precisely. And when you talk about TV shows, with the binge now, it's like Lay's potato chips. You can't stop at just one. Like, I could have probably finished Andor in a night, and again, I would suffer for it.
You'd be sleepy.
Right, so 90 minutes is the ideal runtime, in my opinion, something you should aim for. I'm saying you can go a little over, and I will always make exceptions to the rules. As the podcast has evolved into I Dig Crazy Flicks, which is solely just a marketing thing. I will say that. A lot easier. You can probably sell t-shirts with that and at some point. So that's the basis of the podcast, and I'd like to welcome Jess McCord onto the show.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jess. I am a podcaster, too, but mostly involving TTRPG things, tabletop role-playing games. I'm also an indie dev. I have made the game Skies of Fortune, and I'm just a big, more than anything, like a horror movie and anime aficionado. So I know there are a lot of really good horror movies that are in this 70 to 100 minute range. So,
right.
Evil Dead 2 comes directly to mind.
Well, Army of Darkness.
Army of Darkness,
Dead.
yes.
I mean,
Sam Raimi.
I pretty much say the entire franchise keeps it pretty concise.
They do.
And
lots of things that Bruce Campbell are in for sure.
Yes.
He's in
King of the Sci-Fi original before it was all about whatever Roger Corman threw darts at the board. Mega Croc versus Super Python, what have you.
Mm-hmm.
But horror, is such a wild idea that in general, okay, we're going to make something cheap. And when you think about that, you're not going to get much time, especially back in the day when we were doing it all on film. Reels cost a lot, so you're going to 90 minutes is what you'd probably gun for. They probably were hoping for 80 minutes in most cases.
Yeah, wasn't there something where if you had more than one reel, it would cost that much more to ship, and that made it that much more expensive to actually do the movie?
I would imagine so. I've not looked too much into that, but it's still, the simple concept of you need resources, you need money.
Yeah.
And
one of the reasons why horror is like a first genre for many well-known directors. Get in there, do something cheap, and that's something that people are definitely going to enjoy. Horror's still the most popular of the genres out there right now.
That's true, and then it's something a lot of people can just do on their own time. That goes back to Evil Dead with Sam Raimi, and then inevitable Best Picture Oscar winner Peter Jackson, and even Guillermo del Toro. But when you think of Dead Alive, Brain Dead.
Yeah, they're the same. Yeah,
the same thing. But you go all the way back to his first feature, which I think you can find on Tubi and free streaming sites. Bad Taste, which is a movie he shot over 4 years just on weekends. So.
That one's, I haven't seen it, but it's about aliens who want to eat humans, right?
Aliens who are coming to Earth to harvest humanity for a fast food chain in space.
Okay. So it's like reverse poplars, like from Futurama.
Right. So you could go and if you watch Bad Taste, you can deconstruct all of his features after that. Does he really have mother issues? Because there's a lot of people falling out of wombs in his movies. So my favorite movie, though, because I came to horror later. My parents believed in the rules of the MPAA. Right, 45, so I didn't get to really watch any horror. In hell, I was afraid of the dark for into my early teens. Like Gremlins, it took me about 35 before, got to impress the girlfriend situation.
Sure.
And now I'm over it, but it wasn't until I saw a documentary on Dario Argento on IFC back when it was Independent Film Channel that I really just the visuals that he would present. Not much of a writer, despite his work on Sergio Leone's Once Upon a Time in America. No, I'm sorry, Once Upon a Time in the West.
Yeah.
But that's how I got introduced to horror. But so my element is more of action movies, I suppose. That's why last night I had a panel, 1985 triple threat match, Schwarzenegger versus Stallone versus the Cannon Group. And that again goes to the best elements of work at 90 minutes, because Cannon Group was all about working on the cheap. We're talking American Ninja. We're talking Death Wish 3, shot in London sound stages instead of streets of New York. And all the Chuck Norris movies. Like, special effects, not a big, like, maybe they were afraid of what was under the beard, but...
Maybe.
But my favorite movie is Train Spotting, 1996, Danny Boyle, and then we all know his legacy from 28 Days Later to Slumdog Millionaire, and
Sunshine.
Oh yeah, and Alex Garland, which is something
yeah.
we'll be talking a bit about.
We will be talking about Alex Garland tonight at 8 p.m. My 8:24 Horror Goes to the Art House panel. So be there, or I guess don't be scared. Yes.
Well. Okay. Now this is about the basic concept of 90 minutes just being the best time frame. So shorter than 2 TV episodes and half the time of whatever's coming out. I was speaking to somebody, great Brett cosplay from Alien, which, again, there are exceptions. Like, I'm not supporting the director's cut, but
sure,
you can't really cut anything that went theatrical with it.
No.
But it's still just under 2 hours. So
now, here's a question: I've got a little nerve spiciness. Okay, so I get where you're coming from with this, because my ADHD suggests to me that anything over 90 minutes, my attention is going to start to drift a lot of the time. Do y'all feel that a little bit maybe sometimes? I think maybe just it's a natural effect, even for people who are not thus afflicted, to have your attention drift after sitting in one spot for 90 minutes, unless, of course, you have, especially in the theater, right, where you don't want to get up because you're going to miss parts of the movie. I suppose if you're at home, it's a little bit easier, but even then, you're going to be wanting to finish up, move on with your day, and maybe just move on and think about the film, talk about it with your friends. Easier to do if you can just encapsulate it within 90 minutes.
That sums it up pretty well. Now, when it comes to the theater experience, though, I go back to the olden days when you get an A and a B picture. First time ever trying that 40s accent. Very
sure.
Again, 90 minutes. That time movie going. Like, you either have an epic by Cecil DeMille, or you're going to have James Whale horror movies, the Universal movies, Invisible Man, Frankenstein, Dracula.
I did one of the Fathom Events does stuff like that on occasion. A couple of Halloweens ago, I went to an Invisible Man, and I think it was Frankenstein, both together, and that was great.
Oh, that's something I got to go bring back from my old feed and put on the new feed then, because I actually, with my friends out in Cleveland, the B3 podcast, horror podcast, they said, oh yeah, can we do both
they're like 70-minute movies too, yeah.
Both Frankenstein and Invisible Man? All right, so great mind. I mean, I can say that somehow people are tapping into my brain, because we have Tron Ares coming out next month, and back in college, I did for my mass media course, create a music video, or not a music video, but a musical track with editing and stuff. So what I did was took Nine Inch Nails' Heresy, and then during the instrument, the heavy instrumental parts, I'm putting in sound bites from the Master Control program.
And if you don't know, it's Nine Inch Nails is doing the soundtrack for Tron Ares.
Which, yes, as again, like, so many of my ideas, like, I'm just...
Become real.
Yeah, become
you visualized
real.
them. You dreamt them and they became real.
I don't...
So, you're like that, maybe like Nick Cage from Dream Scenario, or... Well, that's the reverse, though.
Right.
Dream Scenario, go see it if you haven't.
All right, so...
I wonder how long that one is.
Yeah, a lot of going to our phones to see about the rules now. But going back to the theater experience, I'm expecting to lose an entire night, but that's what I'm doing with my time. So I'm happy to sit and watch a Marvel movie with an empty bladder, of course, and sit through the credits and all of that. I want that full experience, and it's just finding time for that nowadays. Especially, again, I typically work 2 jobs until 3 days ago. So it's been a tough week for me. So thank you very much, all of you, for coming to this panel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at there. Like, but it's a chore. I hate to say it. But it's one, like, I've probably only been to the cinema twice. I should say 3 times this year. One was for Riff Tracks.
Time Cop?
Time Cop, yeah.
Time Cop.
And the second time was for Ballerina. And then I said the third time, there's a movie marathon held annually at Northwestern University called B-Fest, which is 24 hours of the best of the worst, dare I say. That's their slogan. They have some gems in there, and then they do have some deep hurting. Like, the worst movies I have ever seen, I would say completely sat through, I should say, I've seen at B-Fest. Do not look up Food Fight 2012.
Okay. You are forewarned, folks.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's difficult not to look up that movie because the story behind it is so crazy. It's an animated cartoon. At one point, though, all the hard drives were stolen. And it still makes no sense. It would still make no sense if that was the script. But, what did they do to Charlie Tuna? Like, what did they do to my boy?
All right. Well, now you're all going to have to go look it up just to parse this.
It's not The Room. It's the room. The Room is an actual art, misguided art. We're talking Picasso, circa before he found Cubism and abstract, and the boring rose and blue crap.
Is that a 90-minute movie?
No. I think it is. It was total. I don't think anything got cut from that movie.
Oh yeah, that's probably true. They didn't leave much on the floor.
It didn't go 2 hours. No sex scenes. No, it has to play through the entire 3-4 minute song twice. It's just Tommy, get some cable, watch some Skinamax, and find the rules yourself.
Tommy. So I've got a question for. Can we go to the audience real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, what are if you want to call out maybe what are your favorite 70 to 100-minute movies?
Well, you can call out what your favorite movies are.
True. Yeah.
I'll see if I can butcher cut them down. not artistically, just time wise.
Anybody have a favorite movie they'd like, or favorite short movie they'd like to share?
Touchdown Massacre.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Toby Hooper. Yeah.
It really adds to the frenetic pace of it, too. But short, when we have
Oh, yeah. You don't have the time to breathe. And goes back to my 1985 panel. I was basically saying, well, Cannon had 3 action hits, and then they had Life Force. Because I'm thinking Toby Hooper directed Life Force. It is technically, the American cut, I should say, which you can't find, is an hour and a half. It's pretty much the movie that ruined the Cannon Group. Led to them taking money from Superman for the Quest for Peace and putting it to Masters of the Universe, which still wasn't enough to keep Masters of the Universe afloat. Like, you watch the finale of that, man, the lighting is poor. They were told get off the stage, basically. But Life Force is about a spaceship going up to Halley's Comet in 1985. So we're still a good only 30 years from a remake, I suppose. They find a spacecraft with 3 nude bodies in it, and it then everybody dies except for one person. And the spacecraft but they put the bodies in their spaceship emergency landing on Earth, and turns out they are space vampires. They suck your life force away. We're talking, so you have, so it turns into a zombie apocalypse by the end in London. You get weird scenes of the mental connection between our hero Steve Railsback and the alien who wanders around London fully naked for half the feature. And somehow it ends up with a scene where you have Sir Patrick Stewart making out with Steve Railsback. And this was Tobe Hooper, so I think it kind of led, and he had Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 was produced by the Cannon Group afterwards, and then Invaders from Mars. But then it's pretty much straight to video, which he's done some good stuff. I recommend his Toolbox Murders remake.
Toolbox Murders.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So, Russ, let me push back on the general premise, if I may. Now, I went to a few critic top lists, and I found that there were not very many movies in this range that were on those top lists. The Godfather, LA Confidential, a lot of these, stuff that Marlon Brando was in, of course, other things. But they tend to be over the 2-hour mark. So, what are we to say that these film critics are just fools?
Well, no, I wouldn't say that.
Okay.
I guess it could be said: Are you in the mood for art? Are you in the mood for a movie?
Okay.
Now, The Godfather is probably. The Godfather and Godfather Part 2, probably the most magnificent cinema spectacles I have ever seen. If it's like, thank God I don't have cable right now, because come Christmas, when AMC shows the Godfather trilogy, and I'm not that pushbacky on Godfather 3, but
sure,
that's 8 hours gone. These movies are over 3 hours apiece, and when you're showing them on basic cable, they're going to take up 4-hour time slots. And
unless you chop them down, and I guess we probably don't want to even.
Where do you chop down? Maybe the Avalonia love scene in Godfather 1,
maybe,
which. Greatly appreciated because she was 17.
Okay, yeah.
And, you say, well, some of the best movies. Well, it's like, yeah, I'm a Woody Allen fan. He keeps it pretty concise. A fan of his work. Like Annie Hall, Best Picture, 1977, which, until Trainspotting, which is my favorite movie, but the movie I watched the most is, it's honestly 9 movies I watched the most. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot 2 other in there now. The Star Wars franchise. And, thank God, but that's a 2-hour, 5-minute movie, I believe. And Lucas had to cut a lot of stuff out anyhow. So, and then we got the special editions because of that, and I was on a Star Wars Revenge of the Sith panel down in Atlanta, and I was basically trying to preach, no, these digital changes are not as good as you think. Like, I go to a movie theater, and now I don't have somebody in the projector room. Well, that's a staffing issue. It's not the digital. And like, yeah, but now digital, there's nothing there. Like, we don't want the Mona Lisa to be an NFT now, do we?
No.
So
do we really want anything to be an NFT when it comes right down to it?
Well, yeah, but like just finding physical media now today, and like I kind of like the charm of 35 millimeter. Yes, it gets worn down. Like people are saying, oh, when they saw the original Star Wars, there were scenes they missed they didn't catch until VHS, or lines I should say that they missed until VHS came along. Because the wear on the film, especially Star Wars, which was shown probably throughout the entirety of 1977 and 1978 at some theater.
Yeah.
And they're not going to keep printing out stuff. So, but I mean, but I was also 2 when the original Star Wars came out, and that was just something easy for my parents to throw on. Dare I say, like, I don't want to say I was raised on television, but
if you're a kid of the 80s and 90s, you know, I think I've been there.
Right. But then I'm looking at, when I look at, as I say, it's art versus film or movies.
Cinema
movies.
versus.
This my podcast is I Do Crazy Flicks. We're talking the artistic argument is flicks versus cinema.
Sure.
Capital C, and I'm always about the capital F. And thank God I do a PG-13 rated, because I tend to drop the capital C myself. It never towards women, just
okay.
Just the fun, cheeky British way. My favorite movie is Trainspotting, so
that's true. It had different context in
Correct.
the UK. Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm thinking, there are a couple of genres in particular that are almost always 90 minutes. 2 that I can think of. First, animated features, because of all the typically, Western animated features,
right.
not necessarily true with anime, and then also comedies. And I thought a little bit about why that might be with comedies that tend to be 90 minutes, and I think it has to do with the sensibility of comedy writers, right, who are very concerned about not overstaying their welcome when they go on stage. Many of them have actually been comedians. They want to know that their jokes land, and then they get out before the audience gets tired of them.
I would say that was a rule all the way up till the 80s. So I would say after the success of Ghostbusters, which follows the 12 parsec rule in my when I put it on the original feed. Actually, when I put it on the original feed, no, the runtime is 1 hour 45 minutes, and then trying to get people onto the show, it's like, okay, I got to go and stretch these limits a little bit. And Slimer leaves the screen at 1 hour 40 minutes 25 seconds. That's when Slimer rushes the screen at before the credits fully kick in. And I go to Solo, a Star Wars story, when it comes to how Han actually did the Kessel Run in 12 parsecs.
Sure.
The line was, he's trying to impress some ladies on the planet afterwards. Hey, you ever been with somebody who's done the Kessel Run in 12 parsecs? And they blow him off, and Chewie goes, "Rrr." And Han says, not if you round down.
Oh.
But I think after the Saturday Night Live guys found out that they are so, they had so much power, movies, they started creeping up to the 2 hour mark. And then you have John Landis, who, brilliant sub 100 minute movie. It was American Werewolf in London. Now, granted, he had Animal House, and again, you could say that's a Saturday Night. That was the John Belushi. Thank God it's so long, because gave us all, we can't get enough John Belushi. But it's once he got that hit, he likes smelling his own farts. Let's just put it that way. I think you can talk to any celebrity will say that about John Landis. I mean, you get away with murder, you're going to think pretty highly.
Yeah.
You're invincible.
Yeah.
So yeah, his movies started getting longer and longer, and then we go to Judd Apatow, and God bless the guy, he beat cancer, but now started thinking everything was so important that it has to be out there, and his movies can run over Funny People is 2 hours 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of it is just we have to get it all out, and I think that's what's suffering with comedy right now. And then of course you have the concept of political correctness, which I am all for, and but they say, well, you can't remake Blazing Saddles, and it's like, you can, but you have to be extremely careful. Every joke's got to land, and you got to ignore who Gene Wilder was talking to Cleavon Little about, the Waco Kid and Bart. What did you expect from these people? Marry my daughter? You have to understand, these are the common folks.
Salt of the
earth,
yeah.
The clay of the earth. Morons.
Yeah.
And sadly, that is the case. I learned that in my Lit 110 course a while ago when we got to the concept of satire. And we were assigned to read A Modest Proposal by Jonathan Swift. If you know what that's about, it's Jonathan Swift's response to the anti-Irish sentiment in England.
Basically, since we have so much starvation, we just got to eat the kids.
Well, eat the Irish kids in particular.
Yeah.
And I mean, look, they're fed on barley. I mean, that's almost as organic as you can get, I suppose. And me and my best friend were taking the course at the same time, and we get there and oh yeah, we are pumped to talk about this. She had, her dad was at least in Mensa. Some of her decisions, but we're pumped to talk about this. And the instructor asked, well, what do you guys think? And there were so many people. I was so disgusted. And I raised my hand and basically said, well, I'm an Anglophile, a fan of English, British culture in general, and it's being of English heritage, it's kind of I like to use my last name Stevens, and pick on people with last names friendly, friendly, of course, O'Neill, McDonald, and all that. And so it's I'm totally down with this kind of humor.
These are the kind of people who, read Gulliver's Travels and think it refers to literal things that literally happened. Or people that, watched The Boys until season 4 thinking Homelander was the good guy.
Oh, gosh, yeah. Really, season 4 kind of sucked just because it was so pathetic.
Prophetic, yeah.
Prophetic, yeah.
Yeah. Now let's not talk about that too much.
Right. How do you stretch this into another one?
I don't know. I don't know.
Oh crap. At least it's got me into wanting to watch Gen V, which I was I'll get to it. But
yeah, I haven't seen it. Is it good? I haven't seen the first season.
I haven't gotten to the first season of Gen V
okay.
yet. I'm just saying I've seen commercials for the second season.
Good.
And it's really well. And if you catch some opening bits from the fourth, they had scenes from
from Gen V. Yeah.
And you realize, oh shoot, they're doing a Marvel to us. We have to watch all the content.
I remember what happened in Gen V in the comics, and let's say I didn't want to see that played out on screen. So, anybody read the Boys comics? If you think that, they go over the top in the show, you ain't seen nothing until you read the comics. In fact, I don't even know if I'd recommend them for that reason. But
it's. Yeah. I've read a few, and
yeah.
you gotta be I don't think you have to be in a mood, but you really have to just like.
If you're going to find them funny, you have to have a pretty warped sense of humor.
Well, I hope it's my warped sense of humor, not my CTE from professional wrestling. So
yeah, maybe so. Oh man.
But
sorry, I'm getting off topic.
Yeah. That's what. It's a podcast. Nobody stays.
Yeah, that's true.
Like it used to be another trick to get people on the show is like, well, what's your favorite movie? Well, Empire Strikes Back. Okay, yeah, it's the best Star Wars movie. I would rank Empire. I'm a Last Jedi defender.
Same.
Okay, and
I know you're not.
And then the original New Hope, and probably Rogue One after that. And I just basically said, well, have you seen 2008's Star Wars: The Clone Wars, the movie that they released theatrically?
No, I haven't seen. I've only seen the serialized cartoon.
Oh, okay. Well, it was essentially the pilot.
Right.
They released it to theaters, and it's a cool 90 minutes. Not as good as the TV show. They really matured with that. This was solely kids stuff.
Dave Filoni has made more Star Wars lore than George Lucas at this point, I think.
Yes. Well,
or at least as much. Maybe as much. Maybe debatable, but
right.
He's definitely an author of a lot of what now comprises the extended universe of Star Wars.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it took really more. Everybody's just picking and choosing what they took from the original expanded universe now.
Yeah.
I want Mara Jade. That's about the only.
I talked to Timothy Zahn yesterday about Thrawn, and about how he knew that they were going to bring Thrawn back and had to lie to people about a lot about when it was happening in Star Wars Rebels. So
okay,
yeah. That's the character that I wanted back. I can see Mara because
right.
Yeah.
But I would say that the going back to my friend who wanted to do Empire Strikes Back, I said, well, have you seen the Clone Wars from 2008? And she said, no. Okay, well, you want to chat about Spaceballs? And if we, during our conversation about Spaceballs, if we happen to talk about the entire Star Wars universe, and sadly, that was the first time I dealt with somebody. Oh, I'll do the record. I'll record it on my Zoom, and I didn't realize she wasn't recording it on her Zoom. She was recording her half the audio. And I've listened to enough podcasts. Like, for the most part, a Zoom call is pretty clean. You can just go and take that audio.
Yeah.
You're just getting a lot trickier. A lot more time, dare I say, and again, I like to work a lot.
Oh man!
So there's tricks like that, but again, as I say, it's more of the home experience. I guess 90 for Chill, the concept is based around, but I will defend about any sub 100-minute movie that does win Best Picture. The artist deserved it.
Yeah. How many have you gone back and looked to see how many of them there are?
Oh, less than 10.
Less than 10, okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of even one that would jump out to me.
Right. Well, as I said, Annie Hall.
Annie Hall, yeah.
Which again, I don't know. I hadn't watched enough of his stuff when I said, I don't think it was better than Star Wars, but when you look at a screenplay and you look at George Lucas's writing, doesn't help George's argument.
No, I mean, I think George was helped out a lot by some good editing.
Well, not necessarily editing. Well, of the script, definitely.
Yeah.
But oh gosh, you read about Star Killer, what Wookiees were supposed to look like.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I haven't gone into that back matter, but I imagine that would be fascinating to see where it came out.
Yeah, everybody's whipping out lightsabers. There's attacking tank. I don't know how that. And this and it's classic. George Lucas. Well, I really did everything. Bad Lucas, sorry. I really did everything. Had this all planned out. Yeah, no. He may have had point A to point B, but it's definitely the Lawrence Kasdans and such who fix the
well, we
fix the
can't
story.
We can't necessarily trust Lucas that much because he was the one. He was also the one that wanted us to have the what'd you call it, the recuts that we were in the '90s. What were those called?
The special editions.
The special editions, yeah.
And
say that these are now the official ones.
Well, and I'm kind of conflicted about that because as a high schooler at the time, I did kind of think it was a little bit cool to see the Death Star blow up with the entire ring.
And I'm right there with you. And but I wish certainly was at the time.
Right, but I was always pumped about the Jabba scene they had cut out originally. So what was going to happen with that? So I was there for the spectacle. And
but if you're there to see a cohesive movie that looks good all the way through, I don't think it hits the mark, just because a lot of the CG does not blend with the practical effects that they used at the time, the practical and visual effects that they used then.
Well, to Disney and Lucas's credit, he always keeps tinkering with it, trying to clean up everything. The original, and I make it a point to have every version of Star Wars in my collection. I thought, I got it's good buying. I buy a lot of stuff digitally now, but so it's or if I buy a physical copy, I'll just go and sell this to the resellers after I get, and because I'm gonna get the digital download, I checked all the special features are the same, and then it's no, you're gonna have to go back to the guy you sold it to make sure you have that physical copy, because they're inevitably going to be cleaned up and changed again. So that's and I guess in general, I think with cinema, and when you think about the special editions, director's cuts, different thing, I guess. But I'll go to the most recent. When you say director's cut, I think Francis Ford Coppola, who keeps recutting his movies. I think it's cool to have a director's cut,
but a million.
Right? No, there's I thought Apocalypse Now Redux was fine. It was better than Apocalypse Now, but why am I having to go and rewatch this a third time? I think it comes down to a lot of cinema is basically you create it you can't go back. Going back to the Mona Lisa, you can't go back and I can really sharpen that smile up, make it pop more.
Yeah.
No, that wasn't an option, and sadly, there's going to be people out there who thinks it's going to be an option. So. I think once you create your art, you have to be satisfied with it. You're gonna take your lessons, learn from your failures, and apply them to your next work of art.
No, I agree. I don't think we need a million director's cuts. The only one that I've seen that I think thought was really worthwhile it's an anime film I think we talked about, called In This Corner of the World. And I've not seen the original version. The director's cut it was one of those films where it's quite long. It's 2.5 hours with the director's cut, but it doesn't feel like it. Sorry, I know that's kind of against the grain of the panel, but
no,
but it's the only one I've really indulged in that I thought was necessary.
Okay, well, director's cuts, I can't say I rush to them myself.
Yeah.
If I like the movie to begin with, I'll probably buy it just because I want to see it. But you watch most director's cuts, it's kind of there's a reason why you cut that.
Yeah.
Take Alien for, did we really need to see Brett and Tom Skerritt? It helped with the future lore, which, I liked Alien Romulus, which is pretty close to an hour 40. So there's things you can gain from it. It's great to have that information, I suppose. But that really only works for franchises. I don't think Martin Sheen's going to go back to Cambodia anytime soon. So,
well, I hope not. Not after what I know about the Hearts of Darkness documentary.
Right. So, yeah, it's. But I do end up making other exceptions. So, John Wick. And I would say, well, is a hour and 40 minutes without the credits.
Mm-hmm.
And I was blown away by it. So when, John Wick Chapter 2 came out, and it was 2 hour, 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I think Chad Stahelski earned it, so I'm going to give him that. And, Chapter 2 was a lot of fun. Chapter 3, 2 hours, 15 minutes. Yeah, no, I trust Chad. I'm there for the ride. Chapter 4, 2 hours, 45 minutes. I'm still there, so...
They can work up to it with the franchise.
Right, you have to earn it.
Okay.
Like, Deadpool, even 100 minutes, parsec rule. I'm not a big fan of post-credit sequences.
Sure.
Like, it was great to see the Avengers eating shawarma and just sitting around for that. Like, oh, that's a cute little gag. And then it eventually just became trailers for the next movie. And it, like, the end of Ant-Man is just a trailer for Civil War. And the end of Doctor Strange is just for Thor, Ragnarok.
And, the MCU, we're running into a definite problem with the MCU where we're getting away from self-contained movies where we care about what's going on with the characters in those movies and caring more about just connecting things. All we're doing is slotting Legos together with a lot of these MCU films, it feels like. We're not telling stories that the audience ends up caring about, which is... not why people read comics, not why we connect with these characters in the first place. The idea of the MCU is cool, that we have this connected universe with a larger story to tell, but the execution very often does not live up. Fantastic Four, I thought, did a good job of doing its own thing. And I don't think we even had... Did we have what was the end credit scene in Fantastic Four? Do you remember?
I haven't seen it yet.
Does anybody remember what it was? Oh yeah. Was that the mid-credit scene or the end-credit scene? Yeah, we did have Robert Downey Jr. appearing as Dr. Doom in one of the mid or end-credit scenes.
Oh yeah, because they had a cartoon, I think.
Oh yeah, they did have a cartoon at the end. See
that's fun, but unnecessary. I should say.
Yeah.
I like the shawarma, but yeah, I don't want TNT rushing through the credits just to get to it. So, with all this said, we're about ready to wrap her up. Just movie suggestions in general. Anything you guys would recommend?
Watched Detour last night. It was 69 minutes. Edward Giovanni.
Okay.
Noir that raced it.
Yeah, 69 minutes, well, parsec rule. We'll round it up. I did, if you get a chance, I attended the con debut of Barry Bostrick's executive produced documentary about Megaforce, making Megaforce. And that carries me back to the days of VHS, dare I say, SLP for life, 4 90-minute movies can fit on one VHS tape. I like going back to these movies that were definitely underappreciated. The Thing, 1982 is a little on the long side, about an hour 45, honestly. But it got destroyed by E.T. And you can say the same thing with Megaforce and Blade Runner. Oh gosh, now I don't even want to get into Ridley Scott and how many cuts of that movie we have. I guess the fun thing about this documentary, which is more or less, the gimmick is it started as a documentary. The biggest fan of Megaforce wanted to just do a making of, and then he just became friends with Barry Bostwick, and it's like, you know what, I just want to recreate this movie. And it's a story of him getting all the old parts, the old bikes, dune buggies. And, the guy has a fleet, and they now stuff from a movie where Barry Bostwick is an action hero. We're talking Brad from Rocky Horror. in a gold lame jumpsuit and a light baby blue bandana. That is Ace Hunter.
All right.
So something I would suggest. It's not. It's going to be. I think they just found a distributor for it, and that was a fun experience. Flying by the seat of our pants doing this viewing, because they just finished the download 5 minutes after because they had to find a link, because it's not supposed to actually be out there.
Yeah. I'll give my recommendation real quick to all of you for a 90-minute movie. If you're into anime, and even if you're not, check out, and we talked about this, Pompo the Cinephile, okay? Perfect 90-minute movie. I won't say why, but go check it out. It's not a perfect movie either. It is very interesting in several ways and has some very memorable scenes to it. So it's basically kind of a Japanese take on a first-time Hollywood director. So.
Well, with that said, Millennium Actress is another one to look
at.
But if I'm going to suggest an anime from the director of Millennium Actress, Satoshi Kon's Perfect Blue.
Coming out very soon, as in for an anniversary or for a restoration or something. In theaters.
Yeah.
Yeah, so. Absolutely one of his best. Well, Kon's great, but that's one of his best.
They got a new physical media coming out there too.
Is that what it is? New physical media? Cool.
I still got my VHS tape, despite I have bought it digitally. So
yeah, I've watched Perfect Blue almost as more than any other anime movie, and it never disappoints. So
yeah, I'm with you. Maybe The Cat Returns, but
that's like a 70-minute one.
Right, it's a real brief one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much for all coming to the panel, and I'd like to quote Crowley from Good Omens. Can I get a wahoo?
Wahoo!
This podcast was made possible by the love and support of Dave and Cindy Stevens, Rory Stevens and Allison Higgins, Danny Daniels, and Stephanie Smith.
Long live Flash! You've saved your Earth. Have a nice day.